Flat Earth British, Martin Liedtke speaking. Hi guys, welcome back to the Great Flat Earth British Think Tank for what will be a very, very juicy post. This will leave your mind melted. Crazy discovery, which is going to make a whole lot of sense to a whole lot of people right now. And the synchronicities are just mind-blowing. What I've discovered through the archives is a text from 1907, a Freemasonic text, which spills the beans on some of their secrets. Now, the higher up you go in Freemasonry, higher up the hierarchy, the idea is you're privy to more knowledge and information concerning the mystery schools and the magic of Solomon, etc. But the higher up you go, okay? Now, it turns out from reading this book that all of the keys for the prize are in the allegory and in the symbols. It also states that these secrets maybe 1 in 10,000 Freemasons knows, but we are privy to, because we have got it all right. And all of those decipherings of all of them Jesuit allegories, we were on the money. It says more than that. It says that if you're outside of said fraternity and you happen to discover or decode this puzzle, then you've got more chance of discovering that word, the sound that will change everything. It talks about living architecture and some of these buildings that we talk about on Flat Earth British actually being living, because they have had words said in them by Freemasonic fraternities. There are 1,000 wows. Now I'm going to talk about the key points. Now some of the key points are mind-blowing. It talks about America being the old world, Noah and all of the biblical events happening there, Noah settling down his ark on America. It talks of America being the Atlanteans, which it says are the Phoenicians. It says that then they took over Europe. Tartaria and all the rest. Tartaria does appear in this text also. So Noah was in America, but this is about the third document that we've had now on Flat Earth British that have said this is the case. It talks about Solomon, which is quite mind-blowing when you look into and you think about, the stories behind him and the myths, King Solomon's mine, Queen of Sheba, etc. I think this guy was really more recent, and I think that the sigils of Solomon, these what we appear to look like piezoelectric forces, are in fact recipes for a vibration, a sound. It is, according to this text, all about the sound, this word, and I'll tell you what that sound is. So it was lost after the reset. Okay, this sound was lost after the reset, and there was a painful process to try and, I guess, reverse antiquity. Solomon and another character we looked at quite a bit in Flat Earth British, Hiram Abiff, the King of Tyre. And what it does state in this book is Hiram Abiff means Christos, to be more specific, Jesus Christ. But this precedes Jesus Christ by some time, thousands of years. This is supposed to be the Bronze Age. So what it explains is pretty much the way I think about reality in this book. It talks about the Bagasites, the parasites in you, and making for a lower vibrational experience, not experiencing divinity through imperfection. It talks about anyone can be a Christ. It talks about Christ seed, Buddha mind, and Krishna consciousness, but doesn't state that because it's not around at the time. But it states Buddha mind and Christ are one in the same thing, vibration. That makes it all work, the duality of good and evil that exist quite merrily in their own realms. Bring them together here in this realm and see what happens. So, quite a mind blower. So what I've done, guys, is apparently the writing's on the wall. I'm wondering which wall. I'm going to float through some of this document. I've timestamped some key points, but we're also going to be looking at incredible stuff, guys. Okay, photographs that I've dug up from 1850, supposed to be like 8 years or 10 years after the inception of photography, but what they show is the older reset world because they're so early. Art from Albert Aldorfer, okay, which is a mind splatter, and a bit of Rubens and other stuff besides. See what I can get through. But living architecture and the word. Now, Solomon's temple was apparently built with no technology other than a sound. This sound gives you the ability to manifest. This might explain why some of these buildings have got perfectly massive, beautiful, smooth marble columns and detail like you can't even imagine how human beings manage to do some things like this. Or them ceilings that we witness in the Hindu world or in Arabian world. How did they do this? The sound. And they are actually reflections geometrically of sounds, aren't they? Is that what's going on? Loads to think about in this. Please share this out. We're just coming up to 25,000 subscribers. I guess I'm going to have a little Flat Earth British Flat Earth Day bash to celebrate that. So peace and love to you all. Love and light up this realm. Okay. Now, I'm going to share 1,000 thoughts as I usually do. Basically, Brian spew all over you. Of what I've been thinking about, which is quite a bit. So let's get into this document first. Okay, I'm just going to key points. I've just done some key points on it. I'll link it up. Read it for yourself. It's not a hefty read. It's only like 198 pages. I read it twice to get the context because it's written in 1907 sort of tongue. So you've got to get your head around it. But it is mind blowing. Okay, now share screen. Excuse me. So here is said document. Now I've looked into the Rosicrucians. You do when you're in this sort of field. You want to find out about what they know. It turns out we know what they know and a little bit more. And it makes all the difference because it says in this book that the people outside of the fraternity that discover these symbols and allegories will be the ones that get the prize. So Oriental Masonry, its teachings, rules, laws, and present usages which govern the order of the present day. And they're not just talking about the Freemasonic rules, which I've been reading into, I've read, which do not sound all of that horrendous, but you've got to bear in mind that they are based on this Babylonian cult, although it's brought up in here that the whole thing of sacrifice in the Babylonian cult was a substitute to try and invocate the sounds present again. So words to that effect. It was very unusual. Anyway, so I won't read any of the preface, but it gives you the outline of the Freemasonic, belief system and inner work. It talks of, a person who's subject to the bullshittery, physical bullshittery, craziness, etc. that goes on in this realm. Will in fact not really ascend or will stay on that lower mind and will not ascend to a divine being. So humanity in toto is the only personal God. The Christos is the realization or perfection of this divine persona. And it also says in individual conscious experience, when this perfection is realized, it's called the state of Christos with the Greeks and Buddha with the Hindus. Okay, be ye perfect even as your Father in heaven is perfect. Now, if everyone was physically perfect in this place would be really, really incredibly boring. There'd be no diversity. Everyone would be exactly the same, thinking the same, behaving the same, completely advanced in every way, sentient beings. So there's this massive division, the good and evil, the hell and the heaven. allegory, put into our consciousness for us to live with. If you sin, you're going to go to hell. Well, the Creator sinned when he created, because he had to create sin. So the Creator created evil as natural part of, I guess, the yin and the yang, the duality had to be. So where it meets is a vibration. It meets here on this physical realm. Now, page 12, just I got ahead of myself thinking there. Page 12 talks of the lower mind experience in this place, being subject to the bullshittery, guys. Everything that is offered in this place that we don't actually really need. So long as the lower mind is held in bondage by desire, man cannot seek or discern the good or the true. He requires what is good for me. Freed from desire or personal bias, he inquires after and seeks for that which is good or true in itself. So, quite profound words. 24 talks of, the mystical Oriental, right? Now, I can't read the whole book, but it is absolutely amazing. So I'll show you a little bit about King Solomon, but I thought this Hiram Abiff, which we followed his voyages, we followed his story on previous posts, but it came to pass the temple was completed, that Solomon, we're going to talk about that name Solomon. I always thought it was Solomon, but it turns out it is Sol, as in the sun, as in the vibration, and on. Sol, on. Wow. So very, very circuit boardy. Hesitated to dedicate it for two reasons. First, an account of the death of Hiram Abiff. Second, an account of the fact that his death of the widow's son, the master word and secret manner of using it had been lost. Therefore Solomon, in his extremity, called a secret council of low 12 in a secret crypt under the sanctorium. The secret council consisted of King Solomon, king of Israel, Hiram, king of Tyre, the Phoenician, Zadok, and the high priest Beniah, and captain of the guards. After Solomon had deplored the loss of Hiram Abiff, with him the master's word and the secret manner of using it. Stop there. So Hiram Abiff has the word. He's dead. He's taken it with him, and Solomon has convened a council to try and find out what this word was. It goes on to state later, the word Hiram Abiff actually means Christos, the word, the lost word. So Hiram, king of Tyre, the Phoenician, arose and reminded King Solomon that Nathan the prophet was still alive and might render some assistance in his present calamity. So Nathan might have the word. Solomon therefore ordered Beniah, captain of the guards, to search out and bring Nathan the prophet. So it's all about the word. The word is a vibration. Okay, in fact it's a little bit more than that. So yeah, Solomon, the Phoenicians, this council trying to get this vibration back. They used a bit of I guess a substitute sound, but the sound itself would be capable of constructing amazing things. Okay, now it talks, because it's the Freemasons, a lot about the Great Pyramid of Giza, but what is mind-blowing is this book states that America and Egypt were once connected. Not only that, it says that Egypt, the pyramids, were at one time center of the earth. Could Mount Meru actually be the old Mount Meru, and was the center of our realm once Egypt? Anyway, so what page are we on now? So 24, it talks about Tartary. Now it talks about, I have had other documents that stated they stole their technology from Tartary, but that I cannot confirm or deny. Now, says here, a cradle of symbolism used in all masonry is placed by many of the best authorities in that country, which they believe to be the first inhabited the plateau of Tartary, and from there transmitted to the generation of sages in India, Persia, Ethiopia and Egypt. We are not indebted to either ancient Egypt from either religion or masonry, but America. Now it states in here, I'm guessing the Memphis in America is the real Memphis. Now it states that everything happened there, that America is Atlantis, and America rose from the water. Now I'm going to give you a small chronology, although it doesn't run direct, of maps in a minute, and it can actually be, in the Middle Ages, this change or receding of the water be documented in cartography and maps known to the mystics of Atlantis. Now they're using magic, they're using sigil magic. Solomon is magic. 26, excuse me, where it states that America was lifted out of the water. No. So that's really interesting. It also talks about the Lisbon Earthquake as well. So Christian and pagan refers to the occurrences as literally true as the earthquake of Lisbon. These stupendous events being connected primarily with the great destruction and recovery of equilibrium in the solar system, and secondly with the conquest wreaking the continent of America on a globe. But bear in mind, this is a Jesuit text. Become involved with the consequences of disorder of the skies. America, known as the mystic was Atlantis, when this ruin befell, was the seat of the greatest empire that ever existed. Its irresistible armies were terrorizing all of Europe and Asia. So to repeat that, guys, America was the greatest civilization to ever existed, and it had massive armies that took over Europe and Asia. Okay, this is what it's stating. Does this make sense? Oh, look what we discovered, the new world, when in fact it was the old world. Now this bit here you can follow in the maps, and I've shown it before. Okay, it talks about how America looked basically. Now says Axakis, first born amongst continents, America has been falsely denominated as the New World. Hers was the first dry land lifted out of the waters. Hers was the first shore washed by oceans that enveloped the earth besides. And while Europe was represented only by islands rising here above the sea, America, Atlantis, already stretched in an unbroken line from Nova Scotia to the west, far west. We got this in maps, guys. We got this in maps. Europe is underwater. It's islands mostly. If I was to hazard a guess, this is pre-Renaissance, pre-Enlightenment. Within 1,000 years, all of this has happened. I would say America was evidently peopled by an older continent, because there were only 8 persons saved at the deluge. The principal part of their prosperity during the whole of the 1st century after the event occupied the very center of Asia. Some say that America was peopled by Carthaginians, they were the Phoenicians, who possessed the Cape Verde Islands, which are only 3 weeks sail from the continent. Anyway, we move on. Mind blow. America was lifted out of the water. From what we said about this place being dunked, lifted and dunked, there's actually a program called Good Omens, which actually shows this scenario of Atlantis being lifted out of the water. I know. So next, now this is concerning the obelisks, and they talk about living buildings. They say, they get the masons together, they do some sort of ritual, say some words, and this building becomes living, which is why the building feels like it's consciousness. Okay. Also, they say there's a correlation between the pyramids, a lot of them, and the stars. May I suggest that the stars have been put there by these things in the first place, these luminaries, because they say the pyramids of Giza, correlate with, some say, the belt of Orion, some say Cygnus, but star constellations regardless. Okay, excuse me, I've gone too far. Page 30, allegorical keys. Now, this is important because it states that we, here at FEB British Think Tank, have got it right, and we're ahead of the game, guys. We're really ahead of the game, and not only that, we are on the... this puzzle piece gets to put together now by us lot. We've won anyway, but I mean, we can put this place right, click of a finger, so to speak. 14. On this, there can be no doubt the pyramids were built by Atlanteans long centuries before Egypt was a civilized country. Why then were they built in Egypt instead of some part of what is now America? Because Egypt was the center of the earth, and the Atlanteans, with their vast knowledge, sought the center, for that will stand as long as time. Now, I'm thinking like this is the original center. Remember, they've had different meridian lines on different maps. You got Mecca on some. You have indeed Cairo pyramids on some, and Jerusalem also on some. So I'm thinking this place shifted maybe and had new center maybe, which is what this suggests. So back to the keys now. That no one knew why the pyramids were built. A wrong conclusion for me. The mystical order of Masonry knows that they were built for no other purpose than the supreme intuition. For it must be remembered that there have ever been two religions founded on one principle. So one of the priests and the other for the people. Not only does this initiation of the mystical Orient Masonry explain the very foundation of all religions, but it gives the key to the pyramid and unlocks the doors at the same time. Stop there. So it talks about the keystone, which Lee Flatworth British has talked about. It's all over architecture. You see this wedge-shaped stone, but it says in this that the key of Noah's Ark, the keystone, is made of stone. Or is it just an allegory for the wooden ship? How can a ship be made of stone? Are we looking at something else completely different here? So it talks of the allegory. Anyway, let me just move on slightly, because we got quite a bit to go. 33. Now I will link the book. Obviously I can't read 193 pages on a vlog because it will take just about forever. So 33 talks more again about the allegory and the information being hidden in symbols and in allegory. Okay, just find that a second. Okay. Right, the last word, 21. This is just what we have found. In the supreme initiation of the mystic occult Masonry, we have this key. Not only we have the key, but we have found the lost word, which the Master Mason degree teaches us was lost. So they're told that it's lost, but in fact they really have it. What could they do with the lost key, the lost word? No. Excuse me. Now, it states the Harem of Birth. I'm not really sure why it states the Harem of Birth is actually Jesus Christ. It says that anyone can be Christ-like. This year, on 28, says such work has now become possible because the cycle of nobility and enlightenment, when workers are not likely to be sacrificed to Moloch for their bigotry and superstition. Granted that such masters exist, and they do exist. So it talks a little bit about sacrificing to Moloch, but it, you know, sort of suggests that they're trying to get away from it. Maybe, I'm not sure. So let's move on a bit. Now you can read all this later. You can actually read this by pressing the microphones there. The second time I had it read to me, you know, to get it into my brain properly. It talks about Albert Pike, okay, the Freemasonic dude, with another one with a red book of information. There's a lot of red books. Bibles are red. Anyway, 44 Harem Abiff here. It says, okay. So it's a true meaning of Abiff, okay, of from my father. Harem means Christos, and Abiff means at one with Christos. But this is before Jesus Christ. In defying Jesus, the whole of humanity was bereft of Christos and eternity potency within the human soul. So they're not talking about like a physical dude, because this is, you know, thousands of years before Jesus. They're talking about a vibration, a word, a consciousness, a vibration. That's what they're talking about. So it talks about lighting up the realm. It talks about the manifestation of this realm. Every single thing that we've been talking about, it talks about, which is crazy. And this word, the secret of the lost word, is carried on and fully explained in the higher degrees of mystic masonry, and is already stated. The candidate is taught not only the meaning of the sacred word and the lost word, but is taught the word itself. So that is the highest degree where they're taught this word or this vibration. Now it says that in the meaning, the true meaning of Solomon is sol, on, like on and off. So the is on. Sol, vibration, is on. I know. So what else have we got in here for you guys? It says here that the sound, which is quite mind-blowing. When I read it, I was like, whoa. The force of the obligation is therefore in the obligation and not in the reason. As a matter of fact, the real reason is scientific to the last analysis, scientific to the degree beyond penetration of up to the present time, of radiant matter, of the Röntgen ray of modern science. The word concerns science of rhythmical vibrations, the key to equilibrium of all forces and the harmony of eternal nature. Wow. Splat. So yeah, we're looking for a rhythmical vibration and the word, and all will be back in the hands of the people, away from them. End the game for them, quick. And it's, you know, the weirdness of this, guys, is, you know, I'm reading all of this out. We've been talking about it for maybe 2 months on Flat Earth British, you know, about the duality. Like, the true word of the Mason is found and concealed in profound meaning and ineffable name of the deity, this secret word. So that, if we discover it, according to this book, the person who is outside of eternity, which is decoded it, is got the most chance of getting the prize. That is us, guys. That is us. We know more than them at this stage. Oh, we're coming along. So anyway, 50 caused the whole world to shake. Okay, this vibration last time it was used, so I think it might be a resetter. I think it's definitely akin and connected with the Ark of the Covenant, as well as Noah's Ark and the whole story. But it actually states in this part, it caused the whole world to shudder there. So the priest used it, the word, the name, and it was known to plenitude and used with power, caused the whole world to shake, vibrate. Is that what caused the mud flood? Is a word by these magicians? Because that's what we're talking about here, guys. Magic is a science of vibrational science, a science of sounds. and vibrations, because all this place is resonating. Phoenician cosmology, sure, talks about druids, etc. Now, page 56 talks that he never used no tools. He manifested this temple, which we'll look at in a moment. It was built indeed without sound of hammer or any tool of iron. It is like made in the likeness of that other spiritual temple, not made by the hands eternal in heaven. So the tabernacle is supposed to be allegory as well for the consciousness, or for the ascension process, if you want to call it that, but for us, our spiritual process, the tabernacle, and a lot of these allegories are too. And in Greek mythologies, you think they're rite of passages, but they're not. They're a spiritual ascension story, or a spiritual enlightenment story. So it is Christos or harem. I find that totally mind-blowing. You know, they're sort of suggesting that, you know, the harem Phoenician is a Christ. And it states in this book as well that there's more than one Christ, and before Christ there was other Christs. It is, and they do not exactly state, you know, the Son of God. They say a perfect human being who knows how to play this game, guys. Knows how to play this game. Okay? So, I link that to you. We're going to have a little look at some images, have a think about it all. So, what have we learned there? Well, it tells us all about the higher state of consciousness and the will of existing on a lower realm, and how to stay in that low life experience, and how to get out of it. It talks of Tartary, it talks of America being lifted out of the water, Egypt being ascended. It talks about a great mass of water between two great continents, but they're not actually talking America and Europe. And they're saying that we were connected to Egypt, or America, excuse me, were connected to Egypt, and Egypt was the centre of the earth. Mind-blowing. It says that the allegorical keys, them outside of the fraternity who get this, okay, have the chance of getting the key, and the sound is everything. It can manifest a new reality. Hence the square man, the temple of Sol on. So the vibration of vibrations, on. I wonder if there's a clue in his name. But what it will result in is a proportion of perfect harmony. And this place is now in mayhem. So let's have, there's too many aspects of Solomon's life to have a think about, but we'll look at the temple briefly and some of the pictures of it. Now it says the temple was a cube, and a cube can be opened out into a cross. A cross, which you can. I covered it on Greatest Secret Never Told, and in the book, Flat Earth British book, Holy Grail of Flat Earth. Now according to the Hebrew Bible, Solomon's temple, also known as the first temple, was the Holy Temple in ancient Jerusalem before its destruction by Nebuchadnezzar II after the siege of Jerusalem, a period of which the first temple presumably or actually stood in Jerusalem, maybe, is known to academic literature as the first temple. Okay. Also, the Hebrew Bible states the temple was constructed under Solomon, king of the United Kingdom of Israel and Judah, and during the Kingdom of Judah the temple was dedicated to Yahweh. During different periods of its operation, Asherah, Baal, host of heaven, and a solar deity were worshipped in high places. And also the temple worshipped included a ritual sacrifice, ritual cleansing, and it's said to have housed the Ark of the Covenant. So there was two. So let's have a little idea of some of the Solomon-y things inside the temple. Now the only thing I can say, guys, from what we have learned here on Flat Earth British is Phoenician, the shells. So let's imagine this. Now Phoenicians, as in a physical form, mermaids, mermen, etc., coming up from the water after the flood, watery people, a bit like Aquaman, occupying a new watery world, just rising up America because Europe's underwater, come from other lands, or were there people brought in from another place, and these Phoenicians are just a parasitical mindset or parasitical entity or entities locked in the memory of the water. So the Freemasons have looked after and scratched one another's backs for a long time, hiding reset information. I don't think Solomon lived all that long ago, guys, because, you know, there he is basically posing for his portrait. I'm thinking, you know, not vast off antiquity. Do I think he existed? Yeah, sure. Sure. And if not, an allegory. So there's a younger Solomon. As you can see, he has the laurel leaves of control. He is a full-on Phoenician. If you're banging in the background, it's November the Jesuit 5th today. So it's, if you're in Britain, you're supposed to celebrate. Oh, we killed people. They were terrible. They were going to blow up a bunch of paedophiles in Parliament. So now you have to celebrate the people that, you know, never got away with blowing up a bunch of pedos in Parliament. Get fucked. So that's what it's about, guys. Believe it or not, that is in Britain. That's what we do. We celebrate people who nearly blew up the government, apparently, or not, because it's just a Jesuit ploy. So things associated with Solomon: his great wisdom, magic, Solomon's sigils, Queen of Sheba, and architecture, and living architecture, and the fabled King Solomon's mines, in books and films, vast amounts of gold. What would he have done with all that gold anyway? So there he is. That's another depiction of King Solomon, Renaissance-y. And we talked about these. Now, they do look like they might be electrical circuit boards-y things, these sigils. Magical sigils. Protecting from sea storms, danger on ground and sea, that one gives you. So people buy them and wear them like, you know, sort of protection, etc. But it's sound, it's a vibration, isn't it? We're not into the ether. Remember, it doesn't have to be spoken, this to work, just effect on the ether by it actually beating there. And there's another Solomon sigil. Now you find these in a lot of our consciousness, inlaid in everything. Even in railings, you see some of these sigils in wrought iron, so that the energies pass through them and magic is laid down. So they do look electrical. And they would be. And that definitely looks electrical. Solomon's sigil. So Solomon's temple, said to be a perfect cube, built, and it looks exactly like a civic building you would see in the modern day in Europe. It is absolutely massive. It's got all like these all the way around, these, you know, entrenchments, etc. But it really does look really, really futuristic, this building. I think there is an operational thing that actually it opens out or something, turns into a cross, takes off. Just saying. So what we got here is Solomon in a nice little artwork. The story of, you know, it's my baby, and he's like, chop it in half, whoever loves it the most, blah blah blah. And this is the same story, but it might be a visit from the Queen of Sheba. It's hard to say. Solomon and Sheba. Look at the size. Why did this building have no windows or fascias? You know, just massive, like a big massive chunk of concrete. Things missing here. Massive big chunks of buttress, and really weirdly futuristic. What is the deal with this? It's technology. So this is somebody who built a model and they took a photograph of it, and it's supposed to be the nearest thing you can see to Solomon's temple in a photographic form, unless they're lying and it's actually a photograph of Solomon's temple. I do wonder, guys. I do wonder about the age of photography. Why not? I on my last post on the Flat Earth British Think Tank channel, I put up a post, 1,000 images from antiquity for you to look at, played some music. And it's, you know, there were a load of Byzantine art in there. They look exactly like photographs. I've looked at them again last night and I'm like, how are they doing this? I'll show you one or two at the end of this anyway. You can see exactly what I mean. So yeah, that's the front facade. So it could be like the Louvre, you know, even mud flood windows down here. But apparently that's the facade of King Solomon's temple. And you get them through ancient maps. Not sure about the datage on this. And it's got a completely different affair to it there. There it is there. In an old map of Jerusalem, which has gone from round to square. Because on the map of Monday, it's square. So you've got Table Mount, etc. And they say they're not sure because of the dimensions whether this here is the remainders of said Solomon's temple, because it's still in contention. But it's somewhere near to that wall that they all kiss. There. The writing is on the wall. Tear down the wall. Tear down the wall. So yes, I went on Instagram at the back earlier. My son made some lovely fireworks, so we had to go with them. And a neighbour started telling me shit about the television. I told her I don't watch the television at all. And she's saying there was some sort of terrorist attacks. I'm like, well, I don't really know anything about it, 'cause I just told you, and it's not real. Did you see it on the news? Yeah. Well, it's not real then, is it? But they can't wait to just, yeah, I know, the BBC tell lies, don't they? But then they'll just tell you all about it like it's a reality. Wow, it's so dangerous to tell you, and they got everyone stuck in fucking watching it. So anyway, look at the size on this for a whatever. So there it is, the big square that opens into a cross. I'm thinking literally. And menorah, and just behind this thing there, what looks like an electrical device, 2 superconductors. But look at the facade. It's supposed to be ancient times. So what, you're telling me that, like, you know, a pavilion at a British seaside Tartarian building looks exactly like, you know, a building from far off antiquity, Bronze Age, 4,000 years ago, etc. Is that so? Really? But what are all of these? Makes it mud flood proof, and it also makes it flood proof. Let's put a building high in the air, like that. So it looks like we got some antiquities on fire, and they put an entire escarpment right the way around Jerusalem. But doesn't that look like British seaside or something, like a casino maybe? But it looks Tartarian to me. Actually sure, but it's just a nice artwork. Phoenicians. I posted this last night on my Flat Earth British or Martin Liedtke community page. Just have a look at that a second because of the rich colour. Beautiful. Not concerning Solomon though. Now this year, right, it's like, you know, you got this Christ character carried by angels, but what you see is, now, is this really shitty cartography, or is this actually how the world looked? They said that America was linked to Egypt and there was a great water between part of the two of them. Well, imagine if this was Europe and Asia, and imagine if this thing here was America, and then they broke apart somehow, or the water filled up the Atlantic Ocean, and then they got separated. Because they say Egypt, which would have been in the middle here, was the middle of Earth. And notice how they got water all the way around, even portals. So that in Christian mysticism indeed knows the Earth is flat. Our heavenly hosts. So, let me just get out of there a second. Excuse me. So this article will prove to you sort of if you read it. I'm not going to read it all, or any of it in fact, but it says the gods of the Phoenicians were also kings of Atlantis, and it just tells you through, you know, what we already know basically, guys, the certain characters, Zeus, etc., Juno, are the same as the mythology of Kronos. So they're saying the Greeks in this they're saying the Greeks are actually the Phoenicians, like we know, because it's a colloquial term for anyone in the Eastern Mediterranean. Anyway, who are the Greeks? We don't know. I'll tell you who they are. They're the Phoenicians. That's who they are. What you can follow through the maps, I tried to put it into for you guys. Oh yeah, can you please share this out, guys? Get some people over, because it's lockdown epically everywhere in Britain. People are bored watching crap. Come over here, get your mind splattered. Try and process all the things that I've just told you. Anyway, so yeah, I've been trying to do a chronology. Unfortunately, it's not really possible, because some of the maps will say 1652 and half America's missing, and then you'll get a little bit later, a bit earlier, and it's there, if you know what I mean. Yeah, but they're all different countries, and a lot of them, as we've studied on Flat Earth British and all these channels for these years now, is that, you know, California seems to be an island, and a lot of America is not cartographied or mapped at all. Grand Tartary at this period is occupying a large part of Asia, which is also looking a bit dumpy and a bit off. So, old world Jesuit maps, which show you the same Phoenician gods I just mentioned: Zeus, the many-headed Hydra. You'll have the pillars, the Masonic symbology, the fasces. But they've got no land here on this azimuthal equidistant, but what they do show is America. And one of the interesting things in some of these maps is they show America the same colour as Asia, a lot of it. So nothing's there, because I think that there is nothing there. It's still underwater. Remember what I just told you in that book? This was all mapped from Nova Scotia, land I mean, all the way down, you know, over to this part of the west, maybe, the lakes. Yeah? Underwater. Still receding. Europe, dotted. And Italy, we've already proved, early 1600s, completely underwater. Holland also. So we are just surmising from a rewrite of history and resets that all of this was in the water. They call it Noah's flood. There were two floods. So here they are again. This is the allegory I'm telling you about. So, if it's all wrapped up in allegory, like we said, guys, in symbolism, so the Phoenicians coming up out of the water in a physical sense, I don't think so. But they're all like one family. They're all related. They're always together. There doesn't seem to be any outside. It's a bit like the royal family, really, isn't it? Keep it in a family. They seem superior. They have advanced technology. Are they in the physical sense? Maybe in their realm. How did they get in here? Think of it as like the film Entity. They get in your mind. They're demons. So, this continent with the adjoining islands is generally supposed to have been anciently unknown. Therefore, there are not man from some who will have ever, even the continent itself, no other than Infula Atlantis of the ancients, is what it says. Lying between Arctic and Tropic of Cancer. Anyway, so yeah, that map tells you that America's Atlantis. I'll go for that at this stage. And the Phoenicians are the Atlanteans. They've got the same gods, the same tech. It's them. It's them. It's the same. Do they exist in a physical sense? Well, they're not here right now, because I would have seen one. And their traits are exhibited right the way through humanity. I was only discussing earlier about the Western man and how much he's just been robbed. Now, Britain, right, they seem to be only bothered, fuck, everyone can starve to death, including your children, as long as the pubs and the bookies are open. So Britain seems to be a culture of really important if the pubs are open, so the government reversed it on the pubs. They can, you know, sell booze outside, freeze. but they're still going to keep the booze flowing. So they keep all of that going, guys. You know, a really dangerous thing if you drink a lot of it and it kills you. Okay, no problem. So they got rid of the circuses, bread and circuses, also for the people, didn't they? So what are people doing now? What is the Western man who can't do anything else but, you know, work all week, go down to football, freezing cold, standing watching somebody kick a fucking ball around, you know, just duh, and then, you know, go out and go on a piss in the night as well, and probably Sunday, and then just brag to his mates about the astoundingly brilliant weekend he had, paralytic, drunk, etc., how much he lost on the horses, affairs, etc., etc. Western man's low existence, and never amount to anything or any real fibre in this place. So this one is I-492, and what we get is no Great Lakes per se, but you get like, what, I don't know, Buttons Bay. I'm guessing this is Hudson Bay, okay, but there's a massive island in Hudson Bay, and Cali's just starting to get reconnected at 1400. Okay, guys, just coming up to 1500. Cali is on the way back, and all of this. But there's some inland seas, as you'll see, in North America as well. So it's not quite back there. And what would the date of this one be? Is the fireworks going off? The other one, excuse me. So the cartography's the Wild West. They haven't got out there yet. Cali's connected, but is America really this big? Well, it's not, is it? So as it goes up like this, and then you've got Oregon, and then it comes, you know, Washington, Oregon, and then you've got, like, further on up, you've got Alaska. It's not a straight line like that, is it? No, it's not like that at all, is it? So, it's not mapped because it's probably still underwater. And like they said, all of that dug out of the mud. I can imagine now the Indians stood on the hill and there's all of these tops of skyscrapers and church steeples sticking out of the top of the mud. People live here before. Dig out. Find city. Yours. Free Masonry. So, yeah. Not that Native Americans sound like that. So this one's a little bit later. Only a year or so later, in fact, guys, and California is connected. So you've got this straight line all the way up to Asia, which would have been Tartaria. So that's akin to Christopher Columbus, which is just a psyop, as we've just proved by that book, which it states at the beginning is to be trusted. So you don't have to trust me on this, but this is like a royal has ordered this stuff. And I'm telling you the truth about how things go down. This is Masonic secrets, yo. He's saying to you guys, okay? Masonic secrets, yo. Look at this. North Wales. What? I'm in Wales, by the way. A city called Cardiff. In the film, the apocalyptic film, World War Z, it's the last place on Earth where anyone is left alive is in my fair city, which is not that fair, Cardiff. I would sing its you know, its great things, Cardiff, but you know, don't really look after me. So I'm thinking, fuck it. Fucking taxes I paid for this proxy city. Ways it treats me. Look at this. So Oregon is completely, and you got islands in this as well later. How many lakes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but they're really weird looking anyway. So yeah, we got that lake. I think that disappeared as well. Really anomalous. But you see how Asia comes down yellow onto this coast, and all of Asia's yellow, or Tartary is yellow. You see, Tartary Russia, Tartary independent. So anything on this map at that period yellow, including half of America, is Tartaria and the south, which you know, makes sense of a lot of the architecture. And the date we're looking at that is 1755. That much later, guys. Isn't that incredible? 1746 on this little beauty. And nothing out there discovered. Even Lake Huron looking weird. Okay. Hudson Bay, excuse me, Hudson Bay. So connected up nearly on there, and the date on that one is 1499. Nice imagery. Ignis. So yeah, we did really well in decoding this allegory and these symbols, guys. According to that text, we really nailed it, and we're on the money. Not that we didn't doubt that anyway, because we didn't. We knew by the way the whole of the reality had changed. Fire, air. Huh. Can you hear that, guys? That's people in a pandemic putting fireworks up for people who are celebrating taking out people who are against the government. Does that make sense to you? It doesn't to me, guys. I'm not completely against it. So that's interesting. Look, still not connected. Okay, but beautiful detailed maps. So we've learned quite a bit here. Let's expand upon this, guys. Can you put your halfpence in the comments section, and then let's have a think about, you know, what we've learned about America being Atlantis, the Phoenicians being the first, then inundated water, great wars, they take over Europe, that's the Tartarians, and the greatest civilization that ever was is in America. And where would the ark come down? There's an Ararat in Pennsylvania, I hear. Memphis. You got all of these names, biblical names. See this place? Estolitia. It's not there anymore. You see this all over the maps. I've studied it before and posted about it before. So tidy little maps though, aren't they? Got a little heart map azimuthal. Showing any land? Not really. Some do, some don't. Oh, that's juicy. So what do you think this is all down here? Antarctica? Antarcticus? Well, if it's Antarcticus, they have hot summers there, and we should pretty, you know, if the pandemic ever ends, book our holidays there, because apparently it's like Barbados. It's like the Seychelles, guys. Oh, look! Solomon Islands! Why would they name the Solomon Islands in the middle of the Pacific? That's a long way from Solomon's lands. Is there a clue? Portal? Something to this place, the way it works? Just chucking it out there, guys. Just chucking it out there. I know a lot of you know exactly where I'm coming from, and I'm thinking the same. You tell me enough in my comments and in my emails. This is why I know this vlog's gonna help connect a lot of dots. And plus, it's just corroboration, really, guys, because we've already established that, you know, sort of in different documents, Noah came down in America, and this is the old world. And they took over. The Phoenicians. They came across the water. Everybody's gonna die. Check this out. And there they are again. So, apparently these gods, or the fallen ones, if you want to call them that, or whatever they are, they have a liking for earth women. Earth women. So, why? Because gods, even in their perfect form, haven't got any nice honeys of their own. Is that what's going on? Makes no sense, see. I know they are pretty fair down here. Fair maidens, some of them. And then you get Bacchosites, which is just... the whole thing is musical sound. A fat twat in a cart covered by grapes, pissed off his ass with a load of slaves. Imagine, right, that this is an allegory for a psychological mindset, a nightclub, a way of thinking, a way of living. Because plenty of people in Britain live like that, guys, don't they? The Bacchosite lifestyle, of course they do. Yeah, that's the same one. So pretty groovy pics. Let's just scroll through one or two more, see if we can find an azimuthal. Right, what's happening on that one? Wow, look at that one, guys. I don't know what this is up here. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. And Something else they do with architecture is, apart from they make it living and they do a spell, a sound, the mirror, they shadow steal. There's a thing called shadow stealing where they put there's with cornerstones they put a piece of paper underneath, and it locks in the soul of that person who's written said thing. So hope you're enjoying the show so far. What we're going to have a look at now is some Apocalypse and Wonder. Now, thinking about the, not the Trinity as such, but Lee's Trinity. Okay, so evil exists in one realm, hell, good exists in another, all getting on, doing their thing, no problemo whatsoever. And the only time it makes any difference is when it comes down to this realm. Seems that people are really subject to, you know, weak. All of us. And it seems that they like to sacrifice as well. So I'm thinking that when they kill something, they cause a disturbance in the force, in the matrix. You know, thinking of it, shit. As should turn that off. So you can imagine the Christ consciousness and the good and the evil, and trying to, you know, the meeting point, the sword. Words can be swords. So this is your Christ character here, you know, in flaming red eyes and a sword in his mouth. And what words would they be? All of the troubles. So they're all going up now, the fireworks. So I'm guessing it's going to get a little bit noisy in here. Let's have another look at these religious texts. So you would put your bird out in the field, and he's starting with a little squeeze. Please. He's got a filter funnel on his head. So when we come to this spooky end time scenario, I think that people are definitely more susceptible to spiritual attack, demonic interference, backsites. For the other side of the coin is, for other people, the opposite happens. Yes. So there's been a film released. Max Sargent's channel posted it, and it was a new apocalyptic film posted this year called Songbird, and it's like 28 months into the pandemic. It's gone airborne and they're shooting us on the street. So as I said, it's about music, so that's vibration. So there's a spell in the music, in the symphony. They use alcohol, drugs, alter your vibration to their matrix field, and these are allegory. All of it is aspects of our consciousness, all of it. I noticed I was all in a portal, but because it's in a, you know, in a spiritual context, it also means that we've brought it into fruition, and it's actually in a material sense also. The sheep, I wonder who that is. The sheep are us. The demons in the blood red sky. So this is the apocalypse. There's no doubt in my mind that this is what's going on now, because they just locked down the whole of civilization, and we're months in and it's only getting worse. Now they're going to start it again, and everyone's getting pissy now. Everyone's getting angry. Cities kicking off all over the world like they knew it would. They can't push our buttons and gaslight us any more than they're doing. But still, the mass of people out there, and the majority, will believe whatever they say. It ain't no big thing to wait for the bells to ring. It ain't no big thing tone of the bell. So Judgment Day is whether you made it, whether you never, whether you got it right down here in this test ground, whether you're worthy of, well, I guess it's paradise. Well, I gotta be honest with you guys, I don't like anything they promise us. And anything what they say happens in the afterlife. I think that we just return to the ether and then manifest again where is need be. Don't ask me, for whatever reason, as nuts as this sounds, I got it in my head that I was brought here to help save humanity. I don't know where I get it from. I constantly think it. And I think that's what I'm doing here. I don't know why I think it. It's the craziest of thoughts. How can it be? Broken a shitty council flat in Ely. Yet the seeds are sown and it's coming. The reset, which may be needed and outside of our control, part of an ineffable plan. Whoa, check out Starry Face. So he's enlightened, he got the vibration, he got the word. There's the word in there. I said the word Abaludu, and look what happened. Yes, I know, fireworks. Okay, so this is the Book of Apocalypse. I will share it with you below for extra colour and enjoyment. It's pretty bleak, his religion. You know, Jesus is spewing blood. He's got the word of God. In the beginning there was the word, which brought all of reality into being and consciousness. Consciousness was probably lonely, wanted something to be with, so it created in his own likeness beings, highly flawed, susceptible beings, some more advanced and enlightened than others, which can show the others the keys. We've all got keys. There's a few in this. I reckon a few of you are going to piece together some. I just got that feeling in comments right today. I just know it anyway from all that's been talked about. So again with the allegory, we got a family of dog heads. They seem to be very popular. He's painting it on his, like the Muslims, the Hindus do, or a Buddha spot in a forehead or the mind's eye. So these are they're worshipping like it's an alive Hydra, fighting hydras and dragons. Allegory again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess that because it's the apocalypse, isn't it? Who's 7? What has got 7? 7 Illuminati states like the America, Emira, Africa, Europe, Oceania. Could it be 7? And there's only one. There's only one. Check out this critter. So that's God and his son. So, you know, if it was in a material sense anyway, then God would, you know, it's like been shagging because he got a son. So, you know, if he's like a supreme being and, you know, perfect, you know, does he have bodily needs? Like, I'm going to have to make a son. Or couldn't he, like, if he's God, just, you know, sort of open his eyes, blink twice and manifest a son? Maybe he did. But anyway, I don't think it's like actually my wife got Mrs. God gave birth scenario. And the flood of blood. So what have we got coming? My stomach's been in knots for weeks. The rainbow after the flood. 2 swords. Jesus is giving you the old 2 swords. Beginning to understand that place in reality for the first time. The deeper context, making a lot more sense to me anyway. And the sheep. You! So I'll pass that on to you, we got to get through. So I'm going to show you some curio, loads of images of the day. Let me just come back for a second, see how you all are. I've been talking for a long while. Okay, 5:30 UK time, firework night outside. Fireworks. Anyway, subscribe to Flight of British. We've got the juiciness going on here. I'll give you a recap of all of that. You know, I know your brain is trying to process all what I've already told you. Just relax now. Have some enjoyment, okay? Okay. It's fun, isn't it? Do you like having your brain splattered? If anyone was to ask me, like, what do you do then, Matt? I was like, I blow minds. So, did you enjoy the Flat Today show? That was fun, wasn't it? We had a great time. So, get back to that in a minute. Now I'm going to show some images, some mind-blowing stuff, guys. I found 1850s photographs. Show you a reset world. Loads more besides. Images today. I want to thank Paul, who's basically given me a CD or a load of music for Flat of British, copyright free. So thanks for that, and it is absolutely beautiful, some of it. Goes well with some of my images. We're going to look into some, again, for code decoding, but beautiful colour and everything. Yeah, we'll look at some Rodin. Rubens is what we'll look at. So, curio. Somebody sent me this link. I thought it was fascinating, thinking about actually the catacombs in Paris, about ants. Remember ants? These ants spray their victims with acid before decorating their nest with their skull. So not unlike Alien or Predator in the Predator movie. Check this out for weirdness. It's for formic acid. It's a nice little touch, isn't it? So they collect their skulls, a bit like the Jesuits do, or the the whoever's, for lining the skulls under the Vatican. Same practice. Lining their buildings with skulls. The ants do it as souvenirs. Weird, eh? There's clues with the ants, guys. I wonder if there's a clue. Just the way their civilization is set up, their way, I've studied bees. Bees were massively, interesting, but ants too. Look how many of them there are. And think about the Matrix. What's the need for an ant? What's the need for any of the perfection? Where you're never ever going to see it. Is it there? Is it rendered until you actually get there? Aha, still alive. Body parts. So formic acid really sort of eats things, doesn't it? So they need that skull. Clip it off. Give me a skull, I want to put it on the ceiling. Is that not freaky? I think that is really, really freaky. So, we're moving on. So now we're going to have a little bit of Arabic imagery of mud flood, but beauty. And I'm going to just pause my microphone because I want to play a little bit of music that Paul have sent me. Okay? Must remember to put my microphone back on now. So, do enjoy. So they really do look like the mud flooded world, don't they? Every single image looks like it's been in the mud. I'm sure you can hear the fireworks outside. It's getting pretty mental. Pretty mental. Anyway, we're moving on. I'm going to look at some artworks because they're beautiful. I hope you enjoyed that music. I've got plenty more like that. I really do love that sort of stuff. But what we got is a mixture of Rubens, Rembrandt, but they're showing the Phoenician world, and in this case an illuminated being appearing in one of these Bacchusite affairs. And as you've seen in the Arab world, the classical world's also been reset in this period, and this is the Phoenicians coming in, I guess, with goods, the way to muscle in a society. Again with the gods, the Olympians, the Atlanteans, the Phoenicians. Apparently, maybe their women are dogs, because there's something going, literally, because they're after the earth, honeys. Check out this for Renaissance picture, or later 1600s. Look at the clothes. Some of these pictures, Gainsborough's especially, are highly coded. Some with innuendo, sexual innuendo, others with just codes. But artists did like to put their codes into artworks. Very, very nice stuff they had, didn't they, guys? You know, they want you to believe that back in this day and age, you know, they were, you know, just never had nothing going on. But their clothes, where are they making them? The world is reset. Where are these clothes coming from, and these pearls and this beautiful stuff? How are they producing it? Van Eyck and this married couple, when expecting, still highly coded. And a mystery of how this was even made. It's more like a photograph, like some of these Byzantine artworks I showed in my last post. I'll show one or two in Pics of the day. They look like they're photographs. Look at this. A tree emanating a building, looking like it. So, stunning colour. Again, you've got this keyboard. All about that music. So all you see is water and music. It's like there's a puddle and she's come up from the puddle, guys. She's come up from the puddle. She an aspect of this woman's consciousness. Could be, you know. It could be. It could be just all fragmented aspects of one's consciousness. Because some of these, one of them is Psyche. She might even be Psyche. That's the Greek god's name. And the thing with the Cherubinouskis as well. So yeah, with the Phoenician world, there seems they have no work to do. All they do is lay around all day, baths, houses, feed the fish, get stoned, drink, just lay around in beautiful, beautiful fabrics and do sweet fuck all with their time. Except bath and hang around in sort of like Turkish bars and bathhouses. Little colour and the flowers and stuff. And that's what they do with their day. Now this looks like a photograph, doesn't it? Maybe it's from a movie. I've got this. Whoa. Excuse me about the banging. I've got this picture actually on my wall in front of me. Again, the same ladies. Look at the arms on her though, guys. Look at the shoulders on this woman. Right? She's got the Phoenician nose, bit of a hooker. The nose, I mean. And she's got arms like a sumo wrestler. Look at that. It's really weird. And the bathhouse in the back. But never I mentioned about manifestation of architecture. Like these columns, the whole thing. Just close your eyes, open it, and bam, there it is. And what you find a lot with these Phoenicians as well. We found a lot. Here they are in the background, in the water again. You get a lot of ginger people. Now this looks like a photograph, but in fact it's not. It's a Renaissance artwork. Check out the beautiful, beautiful bear skin and flowers. Is there anything else going on here? No, not that I've noticed at all. What are the shoehorns for? I wonder if that's allegory for something. Shoehorn? I don't know. So this is how it was done. He's shitting himself because he's all in love, right? And she's like, oh, I hope he comes. He's going to bring me flowers. Oh. Anyway, he's like, oh, she's going to hate my guts. And he's bringing her flowers. And she's waiting for him. And she really likes him. So I hope that works out for them. I know it's like a 3,000-year-old romance, or more recent. Actually, this is a Renaissance period. What's that there with a machine gun? There's somebody guarding with a machine gun. These are from the Greek island of Lesbos, I guess. Phoenicians regard us. And I just love the colour on there. Obviously, the horses and everything's not that red. It's been highlighted, but beautiful. And they're looking up at something. So yeah, in the past, apparently, if you're a female, okay, or you're a lady, you've got to walk around with your one jug hanging out. Apparently, can you imagine that taking on in this day and age? Okay, so. People's cheering out there. Famous British artist I just mentioned 10 minutes ago, but what you get is a lot of sexual references, like her with this thing in her hand, him with a big gun. He's even got one by there as well, and it's just, they're not smiling, are they? But there's more in there as well. They do this. Gainsborough, that's right, Gainsborough. So Jesus doing some magic. His magic. Hang on, is this before or after you've been crucified? Because you wouldn't take the thing round you've been crucified on. What a way to conduct. There's always torture involved, and this is that flat earth look. I think it was like that. I think that's why we see a lot of these maps, because that's how it looked. Beautiful, beautiful colours. So, very beautiful, regardless. I'm wondering about this dude's eyes. They're all white. He must be blind. So. Okay. We're moving on. Right, it's crazy noisy here. I can hardly hear myself think, guys. So, I'm going to show you images of the day. I've got a few to get through. Just make sure everything's in order. Okay. Now, just coming up to, it's about 30 or 20 off of 25,000 subscribers. So it's just taken me 15 months to get to this point from 0 subs. Not quite to where I was before I got hacked, but it's getting there. But that is good news. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting a bit bigger. Okay, more people are going to hear. So make sure to keep sharing this out, subscribing, guys. This is juicy freaking information. This stuff gets out, then academia will be stealing it next. So yeah, this is what I've been up to. If you don't know and you're new to my channel, plenty are. Okay, I have, excuse me, we have. We go on here, I posted on there last night before last, 1,000 views of antiquity with music. Got a Celtic Tartarian channel there as well. 1,000 videos. I use it as an archive because they all have links, millions of links. Probably, or thousands, hundreds of thousands. And Flat Earth British Martin Liedtke channel. That's not the correct amount. So, if you don't know, I've got a website as well, flatearthbritishinfo.com, mindblowing mud flood, and you get all of these. I've got a shop as well with loads of Flat Earth British products. Not that I've ever viewed anything or had any contact with it. It just happens. I don't get any money for it or anything. Think Tank, Martin Liedtke shop. What if you want to have your mind properly splattered, get the Holy Grail of the Flat Earth. You can get it on Amazon or in a material copy, meaning a book, and get your brain splattered. Ed bought one this week. He's had his brain splattered. He told me last night. So you can support my channel through PayPal and Patreons. I've got about 40 odd Patreons. I notice other people are doing stuff through Patreon. I need more time. Well, mine's used up on Barbaria, research, posting, and everything else I do. 1001 things. So all my time's consumed. But I'd really like to do something special for Patreons as well. To get, the whole idea, I guess, is to attract more patronage and support to keep this whole thing going. So that's what I'm trying to do. Which is becoming increasingly difficult. So Mudflood, Tartaria, I do get in deep shit, and all of these beautiful subjects. And my son, Lawrence Liedtke, who's Welsh Dragon Metals, he does recycling stuff, e-waste, and getting money from gold. Gold's out of computers. So we're going to go through some images. Okay, I'm going to show you here. For some reason that is not loading. Excuse me, let me go back to my images. 1850s pics. That'll do. So what you're seeing here, this one's not 1850s, the only one, the rest are. But it's basically St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, and this is in 1930s. And look at the state of it. Between the wars, they ripped it all up. They got railway lines ripping through. One can only imagine what's going on. I do apologise for the hundreds of thousands of pounds that have been just chucked in the air in my city during a pandemic. Got enough money to waste on that, I see. So what were they doing in 1850? Check this out for an early photograph. They were making Abu Simbel. Literally making it. Because it's a theme park. Here's New York. I think this is Madison Avenue, probably because of that arch. 1850s, everything is going on. And the earliest shot, a little bit later, I think it was about 1859, 1860, but this is an aerial from a balloon shot of Boston, Massachusetts. In Massachusetts. Look at this circular building, how modern that looks. Is this not Birmingham? England? So look at it, that's like 1850s and Boston's looking like that. Crazy, crazy modern. From an air balloon, guys. This is the Great Western, built by Brunel, or so they say. The greatest effort of the Victorian era. Apparently, but it's too expensive to run, so it just lays transatlantic cables, which I suspect were already there. All seems a bit of a psyop and inconvenient story. Paris from the air in segments, and as you can see, everything's in an empty lot. These massive, massive buildings in empty lots. Coming up to the Arc de Triomphe. See them? So that is an 1850 aerial shot of Paris. Looks completely different. 1850s, right? Down the catacombs in Paris, and he's putting the skulls and the bones in. This is his job. Do you know why? Because they're doing it around that time, guys, and filling this place up. I don't see any skulls in here at this stage, but he's taking them down, human skulls, by the mass, into the catacombs of Paris, 1850, guys. Abu Simbel, under mud, 1850s, and sand, all wrecked, melted, all dug out, refurbished, and moved for a lake. So these are supposed to be the cables laying down for the Brooklyn Bridge, which I've looked into many times. What I find interesting is this flooring, but is that really there? Why does it look cartoon, and where's the sky? Why is there bits missing? Like this has been cut out, hasn't it? So why is it a cut out image? You can see it's cut out because bits faded. Everything in the foreground of that picture, or the backdrop picture, is not there, I would say. And this is for something else, I would say. Here's the Victorians. And this bridge, steel, steam train, and a horse and carriage underneath. It's a lot, isn't it? I think that bridge might have been there already. Because look at this under here, this big wall. Top hatters. Not very relaxing in the country, top hat, is it? And some of Italy. 1850. Looks like a reset has just happened in place. Phew. Well, apart from there's no one around. And these are 1871, and basically the communards of Paris dead boys, as you can see mostly. He's got a bull in the eye. So I should have warned you before I showed the deados. So, communards in Paris, 1871. This is the moment the railway lines ripped across America. They went from the west, they went from the east, and they met somewhere in the middle. Apparently the Chinese helped a lot getting through the Rockies, but I don't see them present here for the photograph. And then they shake hands in the middle. Same story as the Channel Tunnel. You know, they go through one end, through another, shake hands in the middle. They do this a lot. I think this is just symbolic bullshit for photographs. I think it was all just dug out and it was there already. Probably the same for the Trans-Siberian Railway line. I think this is a good clue. They build this massive train track thing arise. They just built these. Look at the size of these walls, guys. Either side of a railway line. No, I don't think that's for the building for something, guys. I think this is like the old world. And look at that mesa. Yeah, really telling picture, that one. This is Paris, the opera house being deconstructed, and they build another one later after the communards blew it up a bit. Paris, 1871, after the Franco-Prussian War. So more deads. For some reason they had to get the willies out for this picture. He's smiling. What's he smiling about? Are they dead? You better be fucking dead. Are you dead? I think it might be just the pain of death. So he's pointing at his. He had a last little scratch before he died. Stop it. Grow up. This is educational. So the Pyramid of Giza, I think these stones are so haphazard. I think they cover another thing underneath, or something's going on, why they look so shit. There was a covering on it apparently at one time, but you get to 1850 and everyone's crawling all over it like it just come out of the mud. Look what we found. Wow, let's try and get in there. Wow. More of Paris after the communards, and this is the communards front line where they're battling with the Prussians, apparently. I think it's a reset. And big practice in the late Victorian era, Tartarian era, look how spooky he's looking, is operations or autopsies. I think this might be an operation, but you can never tell. Maybe it'll start an operation, end an autopsy. But can you imagine these people? Like he thinks he knows everything. You got the geeky little scientist, yeah, Hans Fritz, knows what he's doing, and this guy's like, yeah, we're really playing God here. I'm gonna fuck this person up. This is guy here. This guy here is not one of them. He probably brought it in the first place. You got his head down? Yes, sir. P-Bags full, sir. Have a symbol. Being dug out, 1850s, still firmly in the mud. What's missing there? So they take them down and rebuild them, by the way. Yeah, for Les Gazouins. Hiding stuff they were, guys. 1850s. Still burnt. Looks like it just come out of a reset. The whole world's like it. But look at this for a bandstand. Right. So that's just for aesthetics. Tech. That must revitalise you. That must make you feel fantastic. Gazebo, whatever they're called. 10 minutes in there and it's like, look at this, it's like a battery something. It's like zzz, all of them good energies. So I've got some more images to show you. 2 seconds please. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. Hope you're enjoying the Brian Splattage so far. So mixture shots and unusual stuff. 1791, so I'm guessing this is the French Revolution, and they are executing. So what happens is the people, although controlled, so out with the old boss, in with the new, it was a revolution, that's how revolution works, have gotten the elites together and they're going to publicly execute them. And now these bangs outside are for the British version of this, which is Guido, or what they call Guy Fawkes, who's Guido Fawkes, Percy, a few other conspirators. Were going to blow the fucking shit out of Parliament. And apparently we're supposed to celebrate that they got caught and tortured for the Great British. We're celebrating the Great British Government, apparently. So everyone's like pedo celebrating. Yeah, they all know it and they celebrate it. It just makes me want to just like, there's something wrong with it all, this whole fucking paradigm. We gotta fix it. So they say, right, I got a collection of these I posted. If you want to see them, they're on my Byzantine, my last post. But these are Byzantine photographs, right? Apparently, pictures. This is supposed to be Diana, the goddess, okay? Phoenician, many-breasted, and these are her slaves. Are you telling me that that is a picture? This is a photograph, innit? Is that a pencil drawing? So that's Diana and her slaves. Again, it's so lifelike. These ones, the Phoenicians arriving. This is like, I'm guessing, Poseidon or maybe Neptune, probably Neptune, with his wife. You know, for a Phoenician, looks a looker, and Sprog in tow, and they arrive on Wales. I live in Wales. Oh, that's how they get about. Allegory, real. It's Neptune with his trident, which vibrates like a tuning fork because it's a weapon. Scooting off up the Nile on a beautiful night past what could be Old Mameru. And the capture of Babel. Check out that for high tech. And the skyscrapers of Babel. Second fall. Neb. And here we have the fall of Babylon from Martin's print. How did they know? There's also an arm of Rosicrucianism called Martinism, or Martinist. The Martinists. I got a couple of books on it. I did have a little read years ago, wondering what it was all about. Highly interesting information. And it's an arm of the Rosicrucianists, the Martinists. Isn't that interesting, guys? So there you are. That's what happened to Babylon. Electromagnetic technology. And Sodom and Sodom and Gomorrah came to the same. Divine, God, us. Did we do it? If people keep on thinking all this negative bullshit in some horror film, they'll have it fucking come. Because that's how reality is. But consciously, because we're here, okay, that can't happen. They can't reset us. Do you see? Because we broke the system. We set a positive incense and it will just reverse any of their bullshittery, guys. It can't happen. Do you see? They can't do it now because we busted them. Saying something natural might not happen, or what they call natural. Just saying. So some more artworks. These are fantastic. Now this right, I can't close up on, right, but if you was to see this in its fullest image, there is 1,000,001 things to see on it. Okay, I'll give you some close-ups now, excuse me, of some of the things that are on it. So, like their king, check his happy hat, a horse. Alexander the Great, Alexander Magnus, Alexander the Great on his horse is a Phoenician and looking like he's in the medieval period, because he is. They say Pharaoh of antiquity. I say he died an old bloke, not young, and he died in the Middle Ages, or just before, in the reset. Darius. Whoa, 10,000. And the medieval clothes again. God, it sounds like 1,000 people out there. And that's it in the distance. You get, that's the city in this picture. Isn't it like a dream? I know. Hope they're not getting on your nerves. And that's in the background. Check the sunset and this landscape. And this painting is so beautiful. And there's the large encampment outside the city for this Alexandra's battle. Imagine seeing the full thing. standing there for hours and you get a bad neck. Is Darius the Great going to fight Alexander, I take it? Or Darius? I don't think he was the Great. It's like Warhammer, doesn't it? And then you get a lot of like things coming up from the grave. The grave's open. These people have fallen asleep, and they've done brought some stuff, and somebody's not in their grave anymore. You get a lot of that. So there's some images of the day. Okay, excuse me. I have more. But that will indeed do for now. Whew, I'm actually puffed out. So recap time. I got loads more, guys, but I'll have to come up on Saturday. We're gonna have a flat day thing for how many subs have I got? Yeah, that many. No. flatofbritishinfo.com. No, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Now what we had on that was an amazing book, which I'll link below. It talks about the lower mind, this being a reflection of the higher consciousness of the higher realm, which I definitely think is a thing. It talks about Tartary, America being lifted out of the water, America being Atlantis, America being where Noah came down, all the allegory keys, searching for what they want, the most important thing that they seek, the sound, the word, which we will get. And rob them. Not rob them, it's ours anyway. They don't want it. We want it. Harem of Biff, Christos, and loads of Christs. Really interesting. And it is a rhythmical vibration we are looking for. A rhythmical vibration that caused the whole world to shake. Better in our hands than theirs. Weapons, or excuse me, technology for producing architecture without any tools, so manifestation, like as in Solomon's Temple. Other thoughts, a bit of apocalypto, some pictures, and I guess I might have left some stuff out, I'm not actually sure. So, check that out. Thanks for coming by, peeps. Peace and love to you all. See you on the weekend for a flat day. So love and light up the realm. Flat thumbs to all. Peace and love.